Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshina Murtaye Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we celebrated Shankara Jayanti last few days ago, 4 days ago. So I thought we will spend some time understanding why we celebrate Shankara Jayanti. So we are after all studying we're starting the class with Shankaracharya Stotras. And the Shastra we are studying relies a lot on Adi Shankara's Bhashyam, commentaries of the Bhagavad Gita, of the Upanishads, etc. So a lot of what we have learnt would not be possible. This Sampradaya itself would not be possible without Shankaracharya. So we will see that. So a little history on Shankaracharya. So he was born in Chaladi in today's Kerala. And the date is somewhat disputed. The latest date is about 8th century current era. So which is about 1200 to 1300 years ago. A much earlier date has been given 500 BCE. So that also is there. Those theories are there. There is no finality yet. So he was born roughly between 1300 and 2500 years ago. So that's a long time. It's hard to imagine how many centuries have gone between him and us. So he was born, his parents Shivaguru and Aryamba. They did not have children and they fervently prayed to Shiva. And then the story goes that Shiva appeared before them and asked them, do they want an intelligent child or do they want a long living child? A child with a long lifespan. And the condition is, if you want your child to be intelligent, he won't live long. But he will do things that nobody has done before. He'll be very, very, very famous. So they said reluctantly, yes, we want to. Well, I shouldn't say reluctantly. They prayed for this intelligent son. So that's how Shankara was born. And so he was very, very much into the Shastram. He started studying the Shastram. And also he wanted sannyasa. That much That much of commitment he had for the Shastra. So of course mother said no. No mother says, yeah, please take sannyasa. This is not, this doesn't, we've never heard of. So even Shankaracharya's mother said no. So the story goes that when they were in the river taking bath, etc., and this crocodile caught Shankara's leg. And so he told Amma, this is how it is. If I take sannyasa, the crocodile will leave me. That's the Shakti he had, apparently, Shankara, as a boy. So mother said immediately, yes, you can take sannyasa. And then the crocodile let go of him, and then he took to sannyasa. And so then he wanted to go further. He heard of Govinda Bhagavad Pada in the banks of Narmada in today's Madhya Pradesh. I think the place is called Omkareshwar. So he studied there under Govinda Bhagavad Pada for some years, and then he went up north. Further north, he went to Prayag. He studied there. Then he went to Badrinath, and then he came back to Prayag, I think, to meet Kumarila Bhatta. Kumarila Bhatta was a karma kandin. So he believed in the karma kanda portion of the Vedas. He said only rituals can give us moksha. That was his thesis. So he was a follower of Jaimini. He studied Jaimini Sutras, etc. So Shankara wanted to argue with him. But Kumarila Bhatta said, you know what? I am in the last stages of my life. I am doing a prayaschitta for some papa I did. So you please go talk to my student, Vandana Mishra, who is further south. I think yeah. So again, probably came back to Prayag or something like that. So that's how the story goes. So when we talk about Shankara Jayanti, that completes the short history, the life history so-called. We'll talk a little bit about what all he did, where he traveled, etc. later. But when we talk about Jayanti, when we say Shankara Jayanti, so the celebration of the birth of somebody. So we have Krishna Jayanti, also called Krishna Ashtami, Janmashtami, because there was the birth of the Avatara. Avatara always has a beginning. So birth of an Avatara. And then likewise Ramanavami, which can be called Rama Jayanti, Sri Rama Jayanti. So the birth of Rama, etc. So when we celebrate the Jayanti, that Jayanti refers to the Upadhi. Upadhi. Because Krishna is Ishvara anyway. So Ishvara, why do you celebrate Ishvara? Every day Ishvara has to be celebrated. We do celebrate. So why specially Krishna? Because Krishna means referring to the Upadhi. The Upadhi means that form. You can imagine the form. So maybe he's playing flute. Maybe he has some peacock feathers on his head. So all this funny attire he has. So that Krishna who played around and who engaged with Pandavas and Kauravas, etc. That Upadhi. Who taught Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So that is the Upadhi. So here also Shankara, when we say, we are talking about this Upadhi, that form, that person who was born in Kaladi at this time, who lived for so many years and who did all these things, that Upadhi. We say that because what he has done is so much that we consider him to be equal to Ishvara. And so we can he is no different than an avatara for us. And so we are celebrating that Upadhi, the birth of that person. The reason we talk like this, Upadhi, etc., is because, see, we start our classes sometimes with Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. So here in this shloka, the Guru is Brahma, the creator of the universe. Guru Vishnu. Hey, Vishnu is all pervasive Vishnu. But my Guru is right in front of me. What is the connection between Vishnu and Guru? Shloka says Guru is nothing but Vishnu. Literally identical, no different than Vishnu. Guru Devo, Guru Maheshwara. Guru is Shiva also. In this subject, Vedanta is the only subject where the teacher is what the teacher teaches. So let me repeat that. The teacher is no different than what the teacher teaches. Only subject. That's why we can't even call it a subject. So if there is a instructor of microbiology or any other subject, botany, psychology, that's a subject. It's a subject topic about something. Some science is there. But the teacher doesn't become a microbe. The microbiologist is not microbe. The microbiologist only talks about bacteria and biological systems, etc., etc. No difference. The big difference between teacher and the subject. Every subject is like that. Yeah, go ahead, Sunita.
Do you mean then the teacher is the teaching itself?
Yeah, the teacher is the teaching. Correct. The teacher is equated to teaching. Why is that? Because the teacher says, you are Brahma, you are the same Brahma that I am, and you are the same Brahma that everything else in the world is. So I am no different than you, you are no different than me. This is the bold statement made by this teacher. So therefore this teaching, the teacher is no different from the teaching. The teacher is no different from the subject matter of the teaching. So only for this subject we can say this statement. Only for Atma Vidya we can say this. Correct? So therefore, one who understands this subject, one who understands Atma, is no different than Shankara. That way, from the perspective of that which is being unfolded, the topic which is being unfolded. But then, Shankara is a Upadhi Vishesha. I mean, so many people have taught Atma Vidya, Brahma Vidya, but why Shankara? So we call this Shankara as, we said earlier Upadhi, now we are saying Upadhi Vishesha. Means a very special Upadhi, a very special form of a human being, very special form of Ishvara. Often we will say Upadhi. We will refer to some Swamis also as Upadhi, Upadhi Vishesha. Because somebody who has, like our Swamiji, somebody who has done so much unbelievable amount and who has completely revolutionized our way of thinking and who has done so much to society in a short period of time. So therefore, we toss. People say avatara, etc. Same thing. Upadhi Vishesha. So what could this person have done? That question should come. So some people will say, Shankara reigned this gold coins, right? Kanaka. When this lady was there and he went for bhiksha and she had nothing in her home and she gave a amla and that's all she had. And then he blessed her with a lot of Aishwaryam, etc. There is a story like that. And out came Kanakadhara Stotra. So Shankara is a great person. So one thing we have to remember here. This all comes under the category of magic. Some power. We don't deny all this power. But really speaking, if you look at our stories, Puranas and things like that, you take Ramayana. All the Asuras had immense powers, magical powers, correct? So Rama, Vishwamitra called Rama, come on, you come with me, you and Lakshmana come with me, I have a job for you. And they go and for the first time Rama is seeing all these funny behaviors. Suddenly sounds coming from here, some blood being dropped from here, and then disappearing. Rakshasa comes here and then disappears. And Rama has to use his mantra shakti to identify this Khara and Dushana, correct? I think they are called Khara and Dushana. These two Rakshasas. So first exposure, I suppose, to these magical people with magical powers, and already to fight with a strong person is not easy. And here these people have magic. So like this, our Puranas are littered, Itihasas are littered with magic. And you of course have the greatest magician Ravana. And the fellow tricked even Rama. He hired Maricha. And you say, Maricha, you go in the form of a deer. And Maricha tricked Rama. Even Rama, the so-called Avatara, got tricked by Maricha. So these magical powers, they're all, we call them Asuras, really speaking. None of us worship Kara, Dushana, Ravana, even though they have all these magical powers. So in our Shastram, there is no value given to magical powers. Please understand that. So all this creating something out of nothing, people do all this. We can be awed by magic, but we don't consider that to be worshipful. So anybody who says, Shankara's greatness, Kanakadhara Stotram, we don't agree with that. Traditionalists will not agree with that. So that is like saying, Modi is great. Why is he great? Oh, while he was walking, he even looked at the small baby and hugged the baby. That is why he is great. So that is not correct. That's not why Modi is great. He is great because of so many other reasons. You forgot all those reasons, and even though it is great to love every human being equally, but that's not the reason we give. Same thing here also. Shankara has done so much that we need to understand that. Okay. So then how is Shankara a great person? Then there is a shloka we chant, the first shloka we chant every class. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam. That verse explains the greatness of Shankara. Shruti Smruti Purananam Alayam. So Alayam is a repository, a place that has something. A place that has books is called Pustakalayam. You will only find books when you go to a library. You won't find anything else. You should not go to the library to have lunch. Although these days you can have coffee and you can have some nice, you can almost have a good lunch, I think, in some libraries. I don't know. It's all Western concept. Here also, I'm sure it might be there. We don't know. So far, I've not heard. I've gone to a library, but they only have books. And so, books, Pustakalayam, period, where you go only to study. So that is Alayam. Here, Shankara is defined as an Alayam, a repository of Shruti, Smriti and Puranas. Shruti, we know what it is. Shruti is the entire Vedas. It's called Shruti. Smriti. Smriti is the entire body of text written by any person. That is called Smriti. Of any value. Okay, even if you don't say the entire body of knowledge, you say, okay, at least the body of knowledge related to Brahma Vidya. So many books are there, so many people have written. It's countless number of books. In fact, even after we have lost so much, still there is so much remaining. There are people, some people, there was a project long time ago where there was a call because people's homes, there used to be palm leaf manuscripts, and there was a time when they collected all these palm leaf manuscripts and recorded all of that. Because there are many books that are just there in some, homes of people. It's not there. There is no library. There is no central library to keep all these things. So such a vast literature is there. All that is Smriti. Smriti. So if you look at Upadesha Saram, written by Ramana Maharshi, we know it. So all these have become popular. And then there are many books written, many texts written which are not popular also. So even they all should be included in Smriti. Shruti, Smriti, Purananam. All Puranas. Puranas were written by Vyasa, Veda Vyasa, 18 Puranas. But we say here Shankara is the Alayam of that. Because Shankara's thorough understanding of all those things, all those texts, and thorough exposition also. So the only way we know what Shankara understood is through his works. Okay. Now, there could be a person who knew all this, but he never spoke. He never uttered a word. So in India, we have respect for people who don't speak. They call Mauni Babas, right? So Mauni Baba means you respect the person because you try to be Maunam for a few hours. So 1 hour, let's say next 1 hour, I am not going to talk to anybody. I am not going to touch my telephone. I'm not going to turn on the TV, etc., etc. In the night, let's say 9 to 10 or something, when you can. So difficult. So therefore, this Maunis are worshipped a lot in our country. But if Shankara was a Mauni Baba, there is no way we could have benefited from his vast knowledge. And so there is a phrase here, Alayam Karunalayam. Karunalayam. So he is a repository of compassion also. Compassion because compassion for humanity. There is so much to be known which people don't know and they are struggling. And so I feel I must do something. Compassion. And so we will see shortly what all he wrote. But he's written so many commentaries. His commentaries are all so profound that it takes commentators to further expound on his commentary, treating his commentary itself as Shruti. So much work is there, and it is not possible in one lifetime to read and study all these things. Even if you have a great teacher, that's how it is, the way I see it. And so much he has written. And remember, those days, there are no computers, there is nothing, there is no electronic gadget. Everything has to be written on palm leaf manuscripts. And how can, even writing a few lines in a palm leaf, it seems to me it's a big task, and you have to maintain all these things. There is a particular process I read long ago, how they create and maintain these manuscripts. So with that, given those things, he wrote so much in such a short span of time. They say 32 years. So it must be just overflowing compassion. That is why here, Alayam Karunalayam. Correct? And he writes, the way he writes it is, he introduces the topic and he does this Purva Paksha Siddhanta. Means, okay, this is what the Shastram says. Now a question, wait a minute. How do you say Atma is Ananda Swarupa? Then how come I am unhappy? If I am Atma, then I am unhappy. There is a contradiction. Like that he will write. He himself will post the contradiction. And then he will answer the contradiction. So his commentaries are all like that. And back and forth. And then so there are many schools, so-called schools of thought. So Sankhya, Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Yoga, so Charvaka, Ityadi, there are so many people who have different views. Some are Astikas, some are Nastikas. He brings all of them periodically. Sometimes he will just bring one, sometimes he will bring all 4, 5 also. So then the subject matter becomes clear to the one who studies all this. Because it's a matter to be understood. Remember, only where there is understanding, there is a possibility of exposition. When reasoning is involved, then there is a possibility of debate. You can't ask the question, what is the temperature in Kailasa? You can't ask the question because Kailasa is to be believed, that's all. And so much is written, and we believe Shiva is sitting somewhere there in a particular form and he's meditating, and that place is called Kailas. Over. It's to be believed and enjoyed. And whereas when it comes to moksha, Shankara says that there is no belief involved in moksha. Therefore, there is all this debate, so much is written. And so, Swami Tattvabodha used to say, he used to give a talk called Finding Ishvara Without Faith. That was the title of his talks. Without faith. Because, faith is important, no doubt. But then you grow out of faith. And you jump into Vedanta. Then, in fact, faith is what got you to Vedanta. Then after that, you begin to understand the whole thing. So this is Alayam Karunalayam. Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram. And then there is another verse which explains what he did also. Shankaram Shankaracharyam. So this Shankaracharya, I am going to treat him as none other than Bhagavan Shiva himself, Shankaram. So Shankaracharya Shankaraha Asti. Shankaracharya is an avatara of Shiva. I treat him as no different than Shiva. Shankaram Shankaracharyam. Then what about the other person? Badarayana. Badarayana is Vyasa, Veda Vyasa. And who is Badarayana? Keshavam Badarayanam. Keshavaha means Govindaha, Vishnu. So I treat Veda Vyasa as none other than Vishnu, as a personification of Vishnu, embodiment of Vishnu. Okay. Why? And then what else? Why are you worshipping them? Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande. So, Vande, I salute these people. Who are these people? Kritau. They did something. I worship them for what they did. And they did what? Sutram and Bhashya. Sutram. Here Sutram refers to Brahma Sutram. So Veda Vyasa wrote the 18 Mahapuranas. He collated all the Rishi Vakyas and then came up with this Chatur Veda. This Vedas broken into 4. Before him there was no such thing. There was a collection of mantras. But then he compiled, collated, reorganized it, and then. So even he is not the author of the Vedas. Even though we say Veda Vyasa, we should not get confused. He is not the author of Vedas, right? He is the editor of the Vedas. In our conference proceedings, they will say editor and then write the name. So editor is knows it all, but he didn't really write any of the chapters in the proceedings, correct? He may have written an article or two, but he compiled everybody's contributions. But here it doesn't talk about Puranas, it doesn't talk about Veda, it talks about Sutra, Brahma Sutra. So Veda Vyasa wrote a wonderful, an important text called Brahma Sutra, which contains very short statements. And those short statements are called sutras. So first sentence is Athato Brahma Jignasa. Like that it goes. Athato Brahma Jignasa. And Shankara writes a huge commentary on these 3 words. Huge commentary. So Sutram itself, there is a definition. Our acharyas have given a definition. Alpaksharam asandigdham saravat vishwatomukam astobhyam anavadhyancha sutram sutra vido vidu. Like that it is there. So I'll explain it some other time. So Alpaksharam, short, brief, cryptic, asandigdham, not contradictory. Vishwatomukam, it should, what is being said now should include all the other views. One word can be interpreted in so many ways. So all that you should take into account. Like this, there is a big list of rules of what a sutra should look like. Like that, Veda Vyasa wrote some 500 plus sutras called Brahma Sutras. And this Brahma Sutra is important because it also explains this teaching, this Advaita Vedanta, and it explains the methodology of teaching also. So, Sutra Kritam Vande, Sutra Kritam Vyasam Keshavam Badarayanam Vande, and Bhashya Kritam, Shankaracharya. So, because Shankaracharya wrote the Bhashyas of Upanishads, we hear that he has written Bhashyas of 10 Upanishads. Isha Kena Katha Prashna Ityadi. And so those Upanishads have popularly been called as the main Upanishads. Main because Shankaracharya chose to write the commentaries of those Upanishads. That is why they are called important Upanishads. So Isha, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundaka, Mandukya, Tittirihi, Aitreya Upanishad, Rigveda, Chandogya, Samaveda, Brihadaranyakam, Yajurveda. These are the 10 Upanishads. So he wrote commentaries on the Upanishads. Why not the rest of the Vedas? Well, the rest of the Veda is Karma Kanda. Upanishad is Jnana Kanda. There were many people very good in the Karma Kanda. Shankara was not needed to comment on that. But the goal of life was lost and everybody was mired in doing rituals without understanding the purpose of life. And so Shankaracharya chose to write on Upanishads, which is also called Jnanakanda, which is also called Vedanta. Vedanam Antaha, the so-called the portion of the Vedas which one studies at the end of what? At the end of when one gains maturity, after doing all the things that we normally do, one comes to Vedanta. And also it is said, which is located in the end of the Vedas. So many of the Upanishads are physically located in the end of the Vedas, but sometimes they are not. So that definition I don't like so much. But the bottom line is at the end. So the final study of a person will be Vedanta. Okay. Sutra Bhashya Krito Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. So Bhashya, Shankara wrote commentaries. How are these commentaries? This is the way he writes it. Someday when we study his Bhashyam, you will all see it. How to understand a word. So yesterday we were studying something, and there he explains a word. So for example, so let's see, in Bhagavad Gita there is asochan anvasochastam prajnavadansa gatasuna gatasuncha nanu sochanti pandita, right? Some of you know that first verse, that verse in Bhagavad Gita where the teaching begins. So panditaha, so he defines what panditaha is somewhere. So so first he says panditaha, he writes, and then next he writes atmajnaha, means those who know what atma is, right? See, look at the meaning of word pandita. He doesn't want us to understand pandita means some scholar, very scholarly person. He knows so much. He knows the Ramayana, Mahabharata. He knows, he can talk about Bhagavatam for days and days and weeks. No. He wants to make sure you understand what pandita is. Atmajnaha, he says. Then he says further. He says, then he defines what panda is. Panda atma vishaya buddhihi yesham te. He says, panda means the knowledge of Atma, and the one who has the knowledge of Atma is called a Pandita. Panditaha. He makes it very clear. You can't have an alternate interpretation for this, correct? He makes it very clear. And then he quotes. And then he quotes from Upanishad. He says, like in our articles, research articles, right? They write something and then they refer to somebody else. So-and-so said, scholar said, published in so-and-so journal. All this is normal. Here he does the same thing. He says within quotes, Pandityam Nirvidya, within brackets, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 351. Okay. So now you can understand how a word is to be understood where needed. Shankara will explain. If there is a potential for confusion, he will explain. Then he will also do this. So one verse to the next verse. Why did Krishna say from Asochan he jumped to the Tattvabodha Jatunasam? Then he jumped to Dehinosmin. Then he jumped to what is this? Shitoshna Sukha Dukkaha is there. Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya. Correct? So so Ashutosh, is spotlight on?
Sorry?
Yeah, no, that's okay. I got it.
Yes.
So So one verse to the next verse, topic seems different. Why did Krishna choose to do that? So Shankara will say something like, even though Atma is told as Anitya, still the people suffer from heat and cold and these inconveniences, and expecting Krishna to have the doubt, Krishna said this. Like that he will say. You understand what I said? So like that connection between verses he will give. Otherwise, the reader will have a question. What is the connection? What is the flow? These are not randomly put together. Krishna is just randomly talking. There's no random talking here. With a purpose being taught. That purpose comes out clear through Shankaracharya's work. Then what is the summary of the chapter? What does the chapter talk about? And what about the whole Bhagavad Gita? In the introduction to the Gita, he writes pages about the whole Gita, what it is all about. And he will also bring in a few alternate viewpoints and he will debate them. And then before entering into the commentary of the Bhagavad Gita. And he doesn't talk about chapter 1 at all. Why he doesn't talk about chapter 1? Because chapter 1 is story. It's just a war setup. Who is all coming? Who are our guests? Who are our enemies? Who are our partners? All these are being described. And he is the Raja. Tattvabodha is there. The Kripa is there. And look, Bhishma is there. Our own Bhishma is on the opposite side. Look. And Arjuna must be having these thoughts. My God, I am supposed to fight Bhishma? And Drona, from whom I learned archery. This is all the set of first chapter. And we don't need Shankara to comment on this because it's a story. He doesn't touch. The first verse he comments on is 11th verse of the second chapter, which is where the teaching begins. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha begins. That is where he starts. So, that's one thing. So, what does the Shruti talk about? He quotes Vedas, as you've seen. He brings in Upanishad Vakyas in the Bhagavad Gita. In the Upanishad commentary, he will bring in Bhagavad Gita, he will quote. Because Bhagavad Gita is Panchama Veda for us. So he does all that. None of this is there in the Upanishad and the Gita, remember. If you read the Upanishad, you won't get all these things. So through this process, we also learn how to teach. The method of teaching itself comes out from his bhashya. Okay, so teaching Vedanta also, there is a technique. There is a way to do it. That's why a scholar, simply a scholar of all these texts may not have the ability to teach. Because the subject matter is like that. And even for any other subject also, teaching is a different ballgame. Some of these young boys and girls have come for summer vacation. So our senior citizen home is just welling with all noises and shouts and screams, and they're throwing the ball, and there is badminton they're playing and this and that. So we're enjoying that. So I have had these conversations, and somebody said, I'm in 10th class, 11th class. And what do you like? She said, I like music and I like something else. Then the topic of history came up. And then what about history? And then, very boring. So this topic of history came up. Then I told her some stories about our past and about our Pythagoras theorem and how he visited India and all that. And then she said, Uncle, why don't you come and teach us in Hyderabad? Please, I beg you. And all she said. I said, so the beauty is teaching any subject matter. It requires so much, and so I was happy when Modi recognized so many teachers in India. 50 teachers or 100 teachers. He had a big. He invited them to Delhi and did that. So that how to teach this Shastram, Shankara's commentaries reveal that. And therefore there is a sampradaya. He is doing what his acharya did, his guru did, and that guru did what his guru did, and she did what her guru did. So clearly there is a sampradaya. And so sampradaya with Shankara gives a lot of importance to this sampradaya, because so much is mentioned in it. If you don't study all this, you will not really know. You may miss out on a lot. That is why being part of the sampradaya, learning from somebody who has been part of the sampradaya is important. And then Puja Swamiji says one more thing. That the sampradaya is important also comes out from his bhashyas. And so Swamiji says Shankara is a sampradaya krit also. Not only one who knows sampradaya with, but also the creator of the sampradaya krit. So that sampradaya where the debates are there, the debates must be seen to be believed. And it goes on and on. And even in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a debate between Yajnavalkya and Gargi and so many. That's a long debate that goes. So like this, the debates are there. So how to argue a point? How to understand something? What did the questioner miss? How do you show that? I was very impressed when I was teaching these children, when they used to go to 7th, 8th, 9th and high school and all. Some of them used to be in this debates. It was a big thing, and they used to learn how to debate. And I was very impressed, because they are taught how to debate and how to hold the points. When somebody is arguing, you must make a note of it, and then immediately you must find your rebuttal must be there, correct? So I was very impressed with these boys and girls who used to do that, and the confidence with which they used to go and debate on a given topic. So same thing, Shankaracharya is demonstrating that in his bhashyas. Okay, so these are the reasons why we consider Shankaracharya to be an avatara purusha, an upadhi vishesha. So some of the works that he has done, we've seen a little bit of it already. Already he commented on the Prasthanatrayi. The main texts for us are what? The Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita and the Brahma Sutram. These are the three main texts for any person studying Vedanta. And these are called Prasthanatrayi. The three texts, the three granthas that one has to study. And so these three texts are there, and Bhashyakara, in fact, I said Bhashyakara. Shankara is referred to as Bhashyakara. So in our classes, Swamiji will say Bhashyakara said this. Bhashyakara said this. We say sometimes Shankara said this. Many times we'll say Bhashyakara said this. Bhashyakara means he has become synonymous with somebody who has written commentaries. Bhashyakara means Shankaracharya. So Bhashyakara wrote bhashyas on these Prasthanatrayi, and he wrote commentaries on other texts also. Gayatri Mantra he writes. He wrote on Vishnu Sahasranama. Like this, he has written commentaries on many texts like that. Mahabharata, I think they say Sanat Sujatiya, there is a portion where he has written a commentary. Okay, so this is called, these are bhashyas, commentaries. Then he has written his own original works. Those works are called Prakarana Granthaha. Prakarana Granthaha. Original works which elaborate and give the message of the Upanishads in the author's own words, called Prakarana Granthaha. So, Viveka Chudamani, Attvabodha, Pratasmarana Stotram, Bhajagovindam, Upadesha Sahasri, very important work. All these works, Shankara's original work. Some are long, some are short. Upadesha Sahasri is long. And Pratasmaranam is short. Shatpadi, short. Tattvabodha, medium. So I remember the time when I went to the ashram and I suddenly got interested in this. And before driving home, I used to fill up the trunk of my car with all kinds of this Swamiji's talks on these topics. But I don't know what topic to get because no idea who's written what, nothing is there. What do you do? So anything which had the word Atma and Viveka, I used to buy. Just get Atma. What is Tattvabodha? Oh, it is a text written by Shankaracharya. Yeah, okay, I want that. So like this, that was my logic. So Shankaracharya has written Prakarana Granthas, which we study in the ashram when we study, and even otherwise, some of these texts we do teach. Our acharyas do teach. Aparokshanubhutihi, very important text. So some are basic, some are intermediate, some are advanced. Okay. Then stotras. He wrote so many stotras on all Devata, Shiva, Devi, Ganesha, Subramanya, Vishnu, you name it, Guru, of course, and stotras which are Vedantic essence also he has written. Shiva, Dakshinamurti Stotram is famous. Devi, Kanakadhara Stotram is there. And Meenakshi Stotram, Meenakshi Pancharatnam, Annapurnashtakam, I like this. There are many stotras. And Ganesha Pancharatnam, very popular. Subramanya Bhujangam is there for Kartikeya. Dakshinamurti Ardhanarishwara Stotram, Shivananda Lahari on Shiva. Gurvashtakam is there. Tatah kim, tatah kim, tatah kim, tatah kim, like that it goes. Gurvashtakam. And like this, many stotras he has written. In fact, I will show you this book. So, long ago I must have bought this book. It's called Shankaracharya Stotras. And if you look at this book, it's a pretty thick book. Okay, it has 420 pages or something, full of stotras written by Shankaracharya. Some 70 stotras he has written. And we can talk about these stotras for hours and hours. This is just stotras. Bhashyam and all will not come in a book like this. There will be several books needed to cover his Bhashyam. And Prakarana Granthas, this doesn't include the Prakarana Granthas. So this is just stotras, Shankaracharya stotras. And the publisher is Samata Books, it says here. And Samata Books, 2 years back when I was in the ashram, I got an email. These books they were struggling for funds. They're trying to publish, but more people had to support them. So we tried to do our best to support him, and I think going forward also, now that I got this book out, maybe we will find out how they are doing and support them, because they are publishing Shankara's works. And very important work. So we have to support them. So that is Shankaracharya Stotras. So that, to talk about his work itself in detail would definitely not be possible by me, because I have not studied a lot. There's so much. We're just touching the tip of the iceberg here. So after that, he's as I said, he traveled from Badrinath. Badrinath is right on the top, just west of Nepal in Uttarakhand, right? That's where Badrinath is there, Kedarnath is there. Then Prayag is, Allahabad, Uttar Pradesh. So south, So those are the places where he visited. He went to Madhya Pradesh, and so I've written here Mahishmati. I don't know where that is, on the banks of Narmada. So that's where he debated with Mandana Mishra, who later, it is said, we hear Mandana Mishra then became an Advaita Vedanta, and changed his name. He was given the name Sureshwara Acharya, who is responsible for who was the first Acharya of the Sringeri Matha. So he established these 4 mathas. He traveled a lot. I saw a map of all his travels, and Raj Vedam had done a nice, beautiful map of how he traveled and things like that. So there seems to be some records of all these things. Big Vijaya, etc. There are some people who have written these books. So in the process, so he went all the way to Kashmir, north of Kashmir also, Cambodia. There is some news about that. So he's gone to places which are today not in so-called India, today's India, correct? So that far he has traveled. Where Kaladi is, where is Kashmir and others. And so established matas in Badrinath, also called Badrikashram. And then in the west, Gujarat, Dwarka. And east, you've got this Puri, Orissa, Puri Ashram. And south, Sringeri, Karnataka. And later on, some other ashrams have come. Kanchi Ashram in Kanchi near Chennai, 100 kilometers from Chennai. Of course, Kanchi Matha is there. They're called mathas because they are seats. They are seats of these acharyas and mathas going centuries back, more than 1,000 years. This must be more than 1,000 years. And if you go to Kanchi, this matha, they show this history of the ashram from Shankaracharya onwards. All the acharyas' names are all listed. And so that evidence some people quote to say the Shankaracharya was actually 2,500 years ago. So there is that view also. So final days, he spent his last days in Kedarnath, Badrinath. And so for these reasons, we worship him. The word Shankara itself means Sham Karoti iti Shankaraha. Sham in Sanskrit means Mangalam, auspiciousness. What is good for a human being is called Sham. What is good? Now, if you ask somebody what is good for them, they might say chocolates are good for me. Or some 2 pegs a night, so it's good for me. Yeah, what you think is good for you is not Sham. What is good for you is Sham. Sometimes what I think is good for you is not correct. And so Sham means Mangalam. What is beneficial for a human being? Sham Karoti. जो शम करता है इस संसार को शम देता है वो शंकर है. That is the meaning of the word Shankar. And so I thought for a minute we will chant this bhashyam that he has written. I sent you all a couple of images on WhatsApp. If you can pull that up, let us do that for a minute and then conclude. Okay, so I'll unmute. Did everybody get the message? Media?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Swapna, can you remain unmuted? So we're going to start chanting from that. The verse number 10 ends in one page, right? So after that, what appears is Shankara's Bhashya. So Shankara gives an introduction to Bhagavad Gita as an introduction to verse number 10. It's really not an introduction to verse number 11. It is really an introduction to Bhagavad Gita, which begins from Atracha. So repeat after me. Atracha.
Atracha.
Drishtva tu Pandavanikam.
Drishtva tu Pandavanekam.
इत्यारभ्य न योत्स्य इति
न योत्स्य इति
गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः
तूष्णीं बभूवः
इति
इति
एतदन्तः प्राणिनाम्
एतदन्तः प्राणिनां
शोकमोहादि
शोकमोहादि
संसारबीजभूत
संसारबीजभूत
दोषोद्भव
कारण
कारण
प्रदर्शनार्थत्वेन
व्याख्येयः ग्रन्थः. And the next page, next image. तथा हि
just a minute. तथा हि
अर्जुनेन राज्यगुरु पुत्रमित्र सुहृत्
स्वजन
संबंधि बान्धवेषु अहं येषां मम एते इति एवं भ्रान्तिप्रत्यय निमित्त स्नेहविच्छेदादि निमित्तौ आत्मनः शोकमोहौ प्रदर्शितौ कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये इत्यादिना. Yeah. So this is how the Gita Bhashyam starts of Shankaracharya. So it's already time now. So we will. So the way we study is we in the classes we chant this, and then Swamiji would explain the meaning of this sentences. So these are all prose now. These are all prose, not in poem form. And then that is how we understand what, in this case, Bhagavan Sri Krishna said, or what our rishis said in the Upanishads. So we'll conclude with that now. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Okay. Ashutosh,